Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flip It Ain't Easy. And I see we have a few right now watching that are in the chat. So we're going to give people a little time to kind of roll in here. Uh, Wanted to do a video for, I would say, about an hour max, just kind of taking a break from work, doing my little routine out in the garage and stuff. And I really just thought, you know what, let's do a live because I haven't done one in a couple weeks. So I thought maybe I'd kind of touch base with you guys this afternoon or for some of you this evening. And, the main topic that I wanted to kind of discuss with you to start would be, of course, motivation. It's Monday, so let's try to get some motivation to kick off the week. I sure need it, and I think some of you guys might as well. Some of you guys are knocking it out the park, but you got to stay motivated to keep knocking it out the park. So, talk about that. Also, kind of wanted to touch on some of the changes that were going to take effect tomorrow with the, for some reason, they call it the winter seller update when spring's around the corner. And we have that. And then I wanted to also kind of touch on, what the future looks like with eBay. And there's a report, some of you may have read it or heard about it, where eBay has lost about 9 to 10% of their buyers and about the same as far as sellers go. So I want to talk about that kind of stuff as well. For those of you who are with us on the live stream, please leave your questions in the chat. I'll try to get to as many as I can within the hour. You can always support the channel with a super chat or super sticker, and that certainly is appreciated. For those of you who are watching this after the fact on a replay, please comment down below. Let me know, any comments you have with the content that we're talking about today, and or any questions that you might have. I'll be glad to try to answer those questions as soon as I get to them, or maybe somebody else will have an answer to them. So right now we have about 9 or 10, and we'll probably have about 30 or 40 people on the live stream. Want to shout out to some of the folks who are here already. We have Winter Crow is in the house, Nancy Thomas, Douglas Kent. How are you guys doing? Thank you for joining me this afternoon or evening. And for some of you, it's not even that. It's tomorrow morning. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. You could be doing all kinds of stuff, listing or just, who knows what. But the fact that you took time today to kind of hang out with me for an hour is certainly very much appreciated. Let's go ahead and start where we're getting people starting to roll in. But, if you happen to miss some of this, you can always go back after the fact and watch, whatever part you missed. eBay is, well, let's start with the motivational thing. As you guys know, it's really no secret. If you watch the last few of my videos, I've been really struggling, and it's not really struggling with motivation. For me, it's struggling with key aspects of my business that's really preventing me from maintaining the level of sales and listings that I've grown accustomed to. And that is with my sourcing. And, even when that happens, you go out, you look at the very few items you have left. Or maybe you have the opposite problem. Maybe you just have a death pile going on. And nonetheless, you go out there and something is causing you to dread doing whatever it is. Like for me, it's the idea that, once I'm done with this stuff, while I found other sourcing methods that get me a few, like going to thrift stores, once I'm done with this stuff, what am I going to do? What am I going to list? Am I going to spend time cross listing, getting stuff onto Amazon, maybe Mercari, things that I've kind of done in the past on a smaller scale, while I wait for liquidation lots to appear? I'm very worried about my longevity in reselling, full time if I can't get enough products to list what I'm used to listing. And while I'm okay, probably for another week or week and a half with what I currently have, I'm kind of there, and it's not very motivating. It really is demotivating. And I'm, wanted to talk to you guys, maybe offer whatever motivation I can for you, but just to let you know where I'm at, I do relate with whatever you guys are going through. And I've been on the opposite spectrum too, having tubs of stuff that you just don't want to mess with. And it's more fun going in and buying the new stuff. And you just no motivation, especially like on a day like today on Monday. Maybe you took the weekend off, and it's like with any job, you're motivated. Thankfully, though, for me personally, I can tell you that I have always been self-motivating, and I enjoy selling on eBay. I really do. I really enjoy buying, the liquidation, and seeing what I can get. Actually, I've actually started enjoying myself just going to the few thrift stores that I've gone to find items, because you just never know what you're going to get. And if you make it fun, if you make it interesting, that in itself will be motivating. But one phrase that I came up with, and it's probably not new, but I was thinking about it. Ultimately, success breeds motivation. And if you're knocking it out the park, making a lot of sales, you're really doing well, that in itself will keep you motivated. But as soon as you see that number drop, the number of sales go down, the number of dollars that customers are spending in your store, that tends to kind of just kill motivation sometimes. And even like returns, fraudulent returns, customer returns, things that shouldn't happen in your mind as a seller, because you've done everything you're supposed to do and it doesn't go well, that leads to demotivation. Now, how do you overcome that? You just have to put your nose to the grind and try to fix whatever the problem is. And for me, what motivates me is the fact that this is my living. If I don't get my act together, whatever the problems I'm dealing with, none of the other sellers are going to be feeling sorry for me. They're going to take my customers in the long run. So I need to do what I can to stay in business, because the alternatives out there, working for somebody else, not being my own boss anymore, not being able to have my own schedule, not being able to do some of the things that you can do when you're not working for someone else, is a huge motivator to get my stuff together. So what motivates you? Please put that down below. Share with everyone in the chat or in the comments down below. Certainly, any advice I can get from you guys certainly would help me as well. Want to say hi to, we got the same folks in the chat. We have Kina, thank you for coming, and Ella Mora, thank you for showing up. And we have about 22 right now in the chat. Keep your questions coming. I'll get to you guys in the chat. Just want to cover a few things. Tomorrow starts this winter seller update thing. Last year they did the spring seller update that started in April. So I just 1 month off. I don't know. It's kind of late to be calling it a winter seller update, but fine, call it whatever you want. I didn't really dive into this, nor did I go to the seller check-in to talk about this, but I did do some checking in on this, as most of you have. Starting tomorrow, we're going to see an increase in final value fees for those of you who have an eBay store of 0.3%. So that doesn't sound like a lot, and it's really not if you kind of look at it on the surface. But if you sell an item for $100, you're looking at 30 cents additional that's going to be in eBay's pocket and not yours. So if we expand that a little bit, that 30 cents off of a $100 sale, let's say you sell 100 items in a month, that averaged out to be $100. I mean, that's pretty good, right? But you're giving eBay an extra $30 over that month. If you do not have a store, it's 0.35%. So if you're selling, more than just a handful of items, every week, you definitely want to get a store. Even the most basic store will get it done. They keep your final value fees as low as possible. If you happen to use subtitles, and I don't recommend it, it's just, to me, it's just the way to give eBay more money. That's going up by 50 cents. So I think instead of $1, it's going to be $1.50. And then if you have an item that sells for over $200, it's instead of $1.50, it's $2. But again, hopefully you're not using that feature and just giving money away to eBay. Promoted listing standard is now based off of the entire amount the customer pays. That's the item price, the shipping, and the taxes that eBay collects from the buyer. It used to be just off of the price, the end price of the item. But now, of course, eBay's taking more money. So if you have a $20 item, $10 shipping, and then, a couple bucks in tax, that's an extra like 12, $13 that eBay is taking fees for. And if you're doing your promoted listing, that is. And it's, of course, as I say, it's just a money grab. The way I take it is we're getting hit as sellers from increase in shipping costs, through the postal service. Now we're getting hit by an increase in fees by eBay. But I mean, who's surprised by that, right? At some point, something's got to give because, for the most part, the buyer's still trying to get that deal and the prices are still somewhat low. The price, the average sale price, I don't think is going up very much, as compared to say last year or the year before. So we got to make that work. That's why sourcing is so important, because as you source, if you get good deals, it gives you room to absorb these extra fees and extra shipping charges that maybe you didn't have to deal with last year or the year before. Other changes that's coming, not tomorrow, but we have by mid-year, eBay is going to try to have all the buyers covered when it comes to making a best offer and having instant payment. I know that eBay's rolled this out on a very limited scale last year into this year, and they're going to get as many buyers as they can on board with that. So you're not stuck with giving someone a good deal and waiting 3-4 days before you have to relist it and cancel the order. And meanwhile, that could have been listed for a serious buyer who is willing to pay maybe full price. Feature, now this kind of, I don't know what to take of this. There's a feature on the app by mid-year that's going to encourage the buyer to contact the seller before leaving a negative feedback. And I guess it's a step in a positive direction. My hope was that maybe a prompt would come up that would say, please leave a buyer a message. And then maybe eBay would say, within 24 hours, 24, 48 hours, I know they love the 48-hour thing. If the buyer or the seller doesn't get back to you, or if your concern isn't addressed by the seller, then we'll leave you the ability to leave a negative feedback. But this is just saying that they're going to encourage the buyer from leaving a negative feedback, before contacting you as a seller. And while it's a step in the right direction, they have the technology to do something to make the buyer actually interact with you. And I hope that they, in the future, implement something like that. No more 30-cent fee on a cancellation. So you know how that variable fee that they talk about, that 30 cents, it's always been one of those things where, that 30-cent fee is, that person uses a credit card or whatever. It's a processing fee charged by the bank or the credit card company to accept that payment. eBay didn't want to eat that off of a cancellation. Now it looks like they are. And so I think that's good, but it should never have been there in the first place. It's like putting something that shouldn't belong and then finally saying, okay, guys, we're going to do you a favor and take it back. If you fall below standard, meaning that you have defects on your account, your shipping is later than your handling advertises, then at some point you're going to be below standard and you don't want to be there. If you become below standard, you're going to have to pay an extra now 6% in fees, final value fees, and that's gone up from 5%. So do everything you can to prevent being there. And if you're there, do everything you can to get out of there. It's a method to get those sellers off of the platform. But, we're talking about being below any kind of standard, or, their standard level is a certain level. You get rid of all the bad apples, that standard now, that bar moves forward, and, you were good before, but now you're below standard because all the bad sellers are gone. Just something to consider there. Get out of, any bad habits that's keeping you in the below standard category. You're just losing too much money. And then they're changing the way within the app on the phone that you interact with your customer. They send you a message. It looks more like an Instagram message than it does currently like an email. And a lot of the things they're they're unrolling for the app, but they should be doing it for the PC as well. It's almost like they're trying to force us to use the app when, for many of us, the PC is faster and more efficient. So let's hope that they, start rolling these new features across the board. We have Chris Morris in the house, Dan Frisco, Ed the Reselling Writer. So thank you, Disgruntled Octopus. Thank you for showing up and contributing. We got about 40. Like I said, we have 40 people in the viewing the video. So thank you for being there with us. Last thing I want to talk about is your thoughts, and of course, comment down below or leave your comments and questions. But E-commerce Bytes came out with an article here a few days ago, and they talked about the reporting how eBay made, of course, an extra 5% or additional 5% over projection as far as profit is concerned, but they lost 9% of buyers and 8% of sellers. Now, I'm not surprised that they lost 8% of sellers because of the $600 threshold. There's a lot of sellers that said, you know what, I'm out. I'm not interested in adding to my income at the end of the year. This is sort of a side gig, and they weren't reporting it, or they didn't have the means to report it. Too much trouble, whatever it was. They don't want to deal with that and have to get hit with 1099. So I understand that. What I kind of wonder about is the 9% of buyers that have left the platform. That's kind of a scary number to me. I mean, whenever sellers leave, hey, that's more buyers that have to go look somewhere else for their goods. That means more interactions with your items. But when your buyers are leaving, what does that say about eBay? So honestly, I don't know what to make of that. I'm very surprised by that number. If that trend continues, then we're in trouble. I mean, if that goes to, think about it, if that goes to 20% as of, let's say, compared to last year, what does that mean for eBay? Because I don't see a replacement right now. I mean, you could talk about Bonanza, you could talk about Amazon, and if you complain about eBay being strict, Amazon's even worse for sellers. You could talk about Etsy, you could talk about Poshmark, but there's nothing quite like eBay currently that I know of. And so what do we do? What is the seller that sells pretty much everything like I do and many of you do? What do we do when we see a collapse in the number of buyers that are even bothering to go to eBay now? And I think a lot of that also has to do with advertising. They've done a lot of advertisements for eBay Motors, but they need to do more. They need to focus on the other 90, 95%. Stop focusing on these categories, these 5 or 6 categories that they want to promote. Start promoting eBay as a whole like they used to do, and get some of these buyers back onto the platform. So again, comment down below, put your questions. I certainly would appreciate that. So now that I'm off of my soapbox here, it's now 3:18. So we have about 45 minutes for some from questions and answers here. Let's see. Winter Crow says sales are non-existent at the moment. I have a stock of collectibles and vintage textiles to photograph, but can't get myself in gear. What's the alternative? If you're sitting on a pile of money, you can pay your bills without doing these eBay tasks that you have to do. Then I guess it's a little bit easier. But when you have those bills creeping up on you, go take a look at your bank account. That should provide you at least enough motivation to get in gear. One thing that I've noticed is if I go out in the garage, I'm feeling kind of blah, I throw on some of my favorite music, and for whatever reason, for me at least, it gets me in a flow. It gets my mind off of other things that may prevent you from wanting to get some momentum going. So the key thing is like anything. It's like getting started. Get beyond, I don't want to go out there and deal with this merchandise, take these photos. Just get out there and get started. And once you get started, you can get into a flow and you'll feel a little bit better about it. Let's see. You started hitting thrift stores. Will you continue? I will continue supplementing what I try to do right now with liquidation with the thrift stores. I can tell you, I went back a second time and I didn't do any video or anything. Went back a second time on that the Saturday half price day, and I initially, when I first went, I noticed there was some pretty expensive items that were eBay, I mean, not eBay, but Goodwill was selling, I think, a little too high. So my hope was, because it was too high, it would be there at half price day. And so I went Saturday, and I was able to pick up about $200 worth of stuff. That's out of pocket $200. We're talking some flight yoke simulators for your PC, some pedals for the same set. There's actually two different sets. One was by Saytech, which is an offshoot of Logitech, and that set was like a $200 set that I got for like 40 bucks. Got another off-brand one. Again, that's like a $100 set. Got that for like 25, 30 bucks. Picked up a really nice OPPO. I don't know if you've heard of the brand, but it's a Blu-ray player. And it was really clean when I saw it. And I'd never heard of the brand. And I almost walked past it. I looked it up on my eBay app. The thing was going in pre-owned condition for like $200 to $300. Of course, this didn't have a cable. Knowing Goodwill's policy, then they just told me, actually, the ones out here, they'll take back returns up to 90 days. It used to be 7. They'll take returns on electronics up to 90 days out here. And, so I said, you know what? I get a cable for it, try it out. And even the ones that were selling for parts or repair are selling for 150 bucks. Pick that up for 10 bucks. So, long answer to a very short question. Yes, I will be going maybe once or twice a week to supplement, what stuff I have, which is what I've been doing, and which is why I haven't run out of items, because I've been really spending time on those thrifted items. We say Kent says the world is uneasy and therefore nobody wants to spend money. I do think that's a huge part of it. But then you have people that say they're killing it. They're having, just as good of sales as right now than they did in the fourth quarter. So I guess a lot of it is what you're selling. Again, it boils down to, do you have recession-proof items where they're going to be in demand no matter what? Maybe not as big of a demand, but certainly much more demand than your just everyday, just maybe I'd like to have this item, but I don't necessarily need it kind of thing. And if you can source, again, it comes down to sourcing. If you can source better than the next guy, then you're going to do better. You're not going to have the same kind of problems that I have. Let's see, waiting for tax refund season. Hopefully that'll help with sales. I do believe that the projections for some of the first returns was sometime this week. And I did a tax return for our son, and they told him it was like 17 days. That was a few days ago. So he was going to get his mid-March. So that'll give you an idea. But unlike years past where people, like the 1st of February, they were able to get their tax returns done, the IRS was pretty delayed this year. Disgruntled Octopus, good morning, all. So you must be overseas. I'm guessing Australia, but let us know if I'm wrong. Let's see. We have Chris Morris. Compared to November, December, early January, how are your sales? And I'm assuming you're talking to me because you corrected and said John. Mine are down by about 25%. So, I had quite a large number of good items that I had sourced and had really good stockpile of stuff. And my sales were great in Q4. It seems like I sold out of a lot of the really good stuff. And here comes January. I'm looking forward to, okay, here's the time of year, the best time of year. We're going to get a lot of customer returns from the Christmas holiday. And, I was able to get some of those 20 box lots that you guys watched me unload. Also that last 20 box lot. And it was getting better, and I was kind of getting excited, and then it's just gone. Going back to some of the places that I go, it's like they're down to some of the places or some of the merchandise that I would turn my nose up to. So do I kind of go to that merchandise? Like, for instance, I would never deal with Home Depot or Lowe's return merchandise. I have in the past and didn't have that great of experience with it. Do I go with that and just do the best that I can with that? Or do I just continue looking and hope that something changes? But, if I continue to do that, that's sort of like the definition of insanity, which is why I'm definitely open to trying new things. We don't get a lot of yard sales out here. It's mostly thrift stores. And I'm thinking about one day just up in at like early morning, going to every Goodwill in this area. And I think there's like 20 plus, and just seeing what I can do. I don't know, but something that I need to really consider. Dan Frisco says eBay has a new feature, buyer groups for one-time and repeat buyers to drive repeat purchases. I have been well. Thanks for asking, Ed. Um, the whole being sick for about a week and the residuals after that wasn't fun. And of course, you want to talk about motivation. When you're not feeling well, you're definitely not motivated. So getting beyond that, but I've been good, been in good spirits, been keeping up with world events and watching all the craziness go on overseas. And that's kind of scary. If any of you guys are watching that, I can say that's definitely a distraction. No one wants to worry about what could happen. I mean, I guess you shouldn't worry about things that aren't in your control, but it's in the back of your mind. So ultimately, I'd say that I'm doing well, doing well. I just want to get past this blip, I'd say, in my eBay career and do better when it comes to sourcing. I just stumped right now. Dan Frisco says, John, it's a prompt on the feedback page to encourage them to reach out first before leaving a negative. Yeah. And I think eBay needs to do that on the PC and on the app, but go a little further. Maybe take them to that leave your seller a comment page, and then with a little thing on the bottom, if the seller has not contacted you or corrected the problem within 48 hours or given you some kind of an answer or remedy to the problem, then click here and you can leave your feedback. That's, to me, better than just suggesting it, because you know how people read, right? People don't all you know it. People don't read your listings. What makes you think they're going to read a suggestion? So Dan just got a small sale. Awesome. That's awesome. I love that sound. You don't want that eBay notification without that cha-ching, though. It usually is not what you're looking for. I agree, Ed. Thank you. Give the video a like. It'll help me. It does help. Anytime you're watching a YouTube video, if you're somewhat engaged in the content, it's interesting to you, hit that like button, whether it's my channel or someone else. I certainly appreciate that. And of course, after you're done watching this video, go give Ed some support on his channel too. Ed says a lot of the sellers that they lost were the ones that were just doing it casually, only as a means to support themselves during the pandemic. Buyers become the in-store shopping is back to normal. Yeah, I think that's right. But I think that you have a lot of these people that are scared off of the thought that they're going to get a 1099. They want to remain under a certain threshold. They were never reporting it in the first place, and those people are the ones that are going to be out and about. My lovely wife, Jenna. Hey, flipping fam. I hope all you are having a great start to your week. And hopefully you guys had a good weekend. I had about 15, I think we had 15 items sell. And that, to me, were usually between, I'd say, 20 to 30, closer to 30 usually. And it's just like, we're just kind of scraping and grinding away. And, yeah, it's just got to change. It just has to change. I have to find a way. And that's my biggest challenge right now. Ed says we have to branch out. Of course, there's more marketplaces for sellers and eBay needs to start competing. eBay was the king, but slowly going downhill. And that's sad because they have more control over that. They can maybe stop finding ways to drive away their sellers. Maybe stop pushing away your buyers. I guess another reason also is that, from what I understand, it's harder to find the items that you're looking for as a buyer as well as it used to be. And not, eBay is not creating what is called a low effort customer experience. Okay. Low effort meaning that they don't have to go through all these hoops and steps just to find the item they're looking for. Just a simple search. Here comes the items, maybe a refinement here and a refinement there. And voila, this is exactly what I was looking for. But when your search doesn't work properly, when items aren't categorized properly, customers are having a harder time finding your item, and therefore it's causing them to go somewhere else to look for that item. Dan says, did you hear what Eunon, I still don't know how to pronounce his name, stated during the fourth quarter call? Completely shows how out of touch they are at eBay. They are out of touch. I have the article here, and a quote, he says, rounding out a very strong year, I'm proud of our team for delivering yet another solid quarter. By investing in our strategy to drive sustainable growth, we increase customer satisfaction, improve the seller and buyer experience, and return value to our shareholders. Can't be talking about eBay, right? During the quarter, we completed our multi-year payments transition and generated growth in both our advertising business and focus categories. As we continue to accelerate our strategy, we are well positioned for future growth. Not when you're losing buyers and sellers, you're not. Fix that problem. Maybe in their mind, future growth means revenue. And I know that's what the corporate language is coming from the corporate world. If you can show your shareholders that you're bringing in more revenue than the year before, all these other numbers aren't as important, because the bottom line is what that company brings in. But it has to concern you that you're losing at least your buyers. I mean, and even your sellers. I don't know. I'm not a CEO. I've never pretended to be, but from my outside in observation, working in the corporate world, watching these CEOs come in, and some of them don't know what they're doing, and they cause more damage than they do good. So hopefully this guy, Yunan, whatever the heck his name is, can figure it out and start living up to what he's saying, because what he's saying isn't what's happening. Ant White, I don't understand how some items can be sold with free shipping. And most of my stuff is double the item price to ship across country. Good point. The whole idea for me not offering free shipping is the fact that let's say someone's offering an item for $30 free shipping, and I know it's going to cost about $10 to ship this item. I'll back my price down to $20 plus, in some cases, if it's over 3 pounds, calculated shipping or a fixed price number, and that will keep me competitive with the free shipping person. The reason why I don't like the free shipping is because when that return comes around, they send the item back. You're out the $10 for that. You're out the $10 for the return shipping label, and could be just a remorse return. But you sold that item for $30. You can't deduct or keep the original $10 shipping. Whereas if I charge the calculated shipping over and above the price of the item, eBay has a little tab there that allows me, in fact, it's already toggled off, and I don't have to return the original shipping. And over time, they say that you get a break, your final value fees if you're top rated plus. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think it's that big of a difference at the end of the year. But if you're selling small items that's costing you no more than, say, $6-7 to ship out your first class packages, then you probably should be giving free shipping for the reason of getting that top rated seller discount. But if you're like me and you're shipping items that are very heavy and it costs anywhere from 10 to 30, 40, $50, I'm not interested in somehow the buyer changing their mind and now I have to give a full refund off of the majority of the cost of the item. I'm just not interested in that. Dan Frisco, some low dollar items with free shipping are sold at a loss to the seller. They want traffic and are helping these buyers will buy more from their store. And that's called a loss leader. It's almost like when you go to Costco and buy that hot dog and soda for $1.50, they lose every time they sell one of those, but it gets you into Costco get some people into Costco to look at their other items that they're selling. Aunt White says, I live in Connecticut. For a 40-pound item, costs like $130 to ship to California. Yeah, that's expensive. So if you're dealing with a lot of heavier items, you definitely need to start looking into the calculated part of it. I did a video a while back that sort of introduced a hybrid model where I ate some of the shipping cost and gave the buyer sort of a discount on shipping, to where I'm still pricing that $80 item at $80. I'm just breaking it up, $50 for the item, $30 for shipping, while it might still cost me $35 to $40 to ship it out, if that makes sense. That way I'm not getting killed on a remorse return or something like that. Josh Howe says, you have to find something to set you apart from the rest of the sellers. Some of our stuff is more pricey compared to others, but we are known for packing, properly shipping, and customer service. I can tell you this. I learned this, and I talked about this before. I learned this back in 2017, 2018, when I was still working at my full-time job, and I was just dabbling in the whole drop shipper thing. Drop shippers, they are selling the item for more, 5-10% sometimes, maybe 15% over what, say, Amazon sells it for, because that's where they're sourcing it from. They bring that item over to eBay, mark it up 10-15%, and they're making that 10-15% all day long when that buyer can find it cheaper somewhere else. And they're doing things, of course, that stock photo, I think, because it has that white background, gives you more exposure on Google. But taking the titles and optimizing titles is huge. If you have an optimized title with good photos, just a good clean listing, that's going to catch a buyer's attention more so than if you have a sloppy listing. It's just building that first impression with the potential buyer, and buyers are willing to spend a little bit more if they are more comfortable with dealing with you as a oops, I got a text here, sorry, more comfortable with you than as a seller. If they are comfortable spending that extra 5-10% because they're confident they're going to get their item, they like the way your listing looks, it's definitely possible to get more money. We have DK Weather. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Thanks for showing up here. I guess, DK, you got your return last week. If you did, if that's what it was, please put in the chat when you filed. That might help some of us who, well, I haven't filed mine yet. I'm still messing with that nightmare. But for those of you who have filed, give everyone an idea of when to expect theirs. Josh Howe, some stuff sells before others at a higher price because of all that. And then the disgruntled octopus, our Australia tax year ends on the 30th of June. So we're generally, they get a tax refund boost in July, August. And, I would rather see these tax returns hit sort of around that time of year too, because that's when eBay sales generally start getting to be a lull, when people start going on vacation and the weather's nice and they're not interested in staying at home and shopping. DK says that I'm up 50% this month compared to January. Well, that's awesome. That is definitely really good. My sales are down too. This is Mark. My sales are down too, 35 to 40%. Economy will eventually get better. You have to ride the wave. And that's true. In the history of our economy, you have a cycle. It goes up and down. And we've been in a down cycle for, I'd say, a couple years now. It's just kind of more down than it has been. And hopefully things change to where it definitely starts improving. Nancy says, did you see USPS in April? They're going to charge $4 for items that are over 22 inches to 30 inches in length. Yeah, I see that. And I saw that. And, it definitely makes me consider that when I'm selling larger items to use UPS ground. And I definitely would encourage you guys to look into that, especially the seller out there in Connecticut that was dealing with a $40 shipping charge. Definitely check into Pirate Ship, UPS ground, and get your discounts. We have Kayatica 007. Do you know anyone who is successful on Bonanza? I've been there for over a decade with 2,000 items and only get one sale every 3 months. What's wrong with them? Well, they don't advertise. They don't have a big word of mouth. It's not a popular place, but some people simply go on to Bonanza, take their items, and it cross posts over to Bonanza. If you can get an extra 3 items, um, per quarter sold, then that's an extra 3 items that you were able to sell on eBay. If you can, and that's definitely something that I'm going to look into. If I can sell an extra couple items a month for doing virtually nothing more than just setting up an account on Bonanza and having my listings cross over, then it's something to look into. As a primary place to sell, I wouldn't do it. It's definitely not worth your time, I don't think. For every maybe 10 offers I send to watchers, I get a sale from only one. Made 3 sales off of offers to watchers last week. And that's because there's a very good percentage, a very good chance that the watchers that you're sending offers to are sellers selling the same item, doing research, maybe looking for a listing to sell similar. And I just got an offer last week on an item that I was selling. And it's because, I was on that listing doing some research and eBay thought I was a potential buyer. Let's take a look here. Chris, did your eBay cha-ching or offer notification stop working when in the app? No, I had a text that came through, and my cha-chings work great. Unfortunately, they're not working so hot right now because I haven't had any sales. I think I had like 2 sales today, so it needs to get better. But once your buyers cherry pick your store and the good, more in demand stuff goes, you have to deal with what you have left, and that's kind of what I'm dealing with. Little unique shop. I had no sales, so that's not good. We need you to get some sales. Andrew Merritt, buyers should not be able to leave a negative feedback until they reach out to the seller. eBay always wants communication. Yeah, that's the thing. eBay is very good when you call eBay about a problem with the buyer, right? What is one of the first things they tell you? Why don't you contact the buyer? Okay. Well, that's fine and all. A lot of buyers don't read, they don't reply, they don't even know the messaging system's there. So make them aware of it by doing more than a suggestion. Maybe they go to click leave feedback and it takes them to a place to leave a message with a little disclaimer. Leave this message for your seller. If within 48 hours you do not get a reply or a fair resolution to your situation, then come back and leave your negative feedback. That's not difficult, but again, they're more concerned about the buyer experience than the seller experience. And until that mindset changes, we have to deal with it. Nancy Thomas lives in a small town and does not have UPS or FedEx. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. That would be tough for me. I have about 6 or 7 large packages behind me that I have to drop off at UPS, my UPS store about a block away. I can't imagine paying for some of these larger items, paying what USPS charges though. Ed said he had to make a video about a return on Poshmark because buyers are too lazy to even see pictures now. And that's the difference right there. Posh sided with me, even when the buyer's getting lazy. Posh, maybe Mercari, they give you that 3-day acceptance window. And if the buyer isn't happy, then they open a case with Posh. But from my experience with that, Posh, they actually listen. They actually go in and evaluate. You get some of these eBay reps, they're quick to stamp, that case against you. And, you're out and you have all the facts on your side. So, hopefully eBay is out there watching and they take some of this feedback. And I'm not, someone accused me a while back of being holding the tray for eBay and holding their water and all this nonsense. If you watch most of my videos, a lot of you say I'm complaining, but I'm giving you my feedback. It's an honest feedback. And I want eBay to succeed. This is what I do for a living. Losing 9% of your customer base is a problem, eBay. And it is important that you take the feedback that us sellers are providing, whether through these videos, through the chat, through some of the forums that you read online. eBay needs to have someone on their social media team out there reporting the feedback in some of these meetings and addressing some of these problems. If they did that, and I really doubt that they do, but I mean, if they are doing it, they're doing a poor job of it. If they did that, they would be able to fix so many problems. And eBay, hey, if giving honest feedback is a problem for you, I'm sorry. I'm doing what I can to help the folks that watch this channel know what I'm dealing with, and chances are they're dealing with it. They just don't have a platform to report it. I'm reporting what I hear from other people that respond in some of these chats, the live streams, through the comments, and directly to me and through email. There's some problems out there, eBay, and start listening to the sellers, because we're the ones in touch with the buyer, not you guys. You guys are sitting in your meetings taking reports from different department heads, and they're not selling either. Start listening to your sellers and the real problems, and then you'll stop losing 9% of buyers and 8% of sellers. It's just a problem, and it's not a problem that's going to be fixed until you guys decide that it's important enough. Ed says, you have been a CEO, John, your own CEO. Yeah, that's what Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. I'm my own CEO, and you all are your own CEO. You have the ability to make changes in interactions, but I do caveat that with a disclaimer that you're not truly your own CEO, because eBay has their hands in your business, and you can't 100% make a true business decision without them stepping in and helping you make that decision, unfortunately. Let's take a look. What questions do we have? Ed says, what's your opinion on charging a flat rate on shipping? My case, shoes for 2 pounds max would be $12.27 for East Coast buyers, and $10 flat. Do you agree with that model? Yeah, I mean, if it's within a dollar or two, where you're going to eat a dollar or two, I would do like $9.99 for shipping. If it's anything larger than 3 pounds, I then go into the calculated part of it, and usually with UPS Ground, and that works out for me. If you're pricing your stuff appropriately, if you've sourced it well to where you have some room, I mean, you're offering discounts with coupons, promoted listings, you're paying more to actually sell that item. If you have room to do all that, then you should be able to have room to eat a little bit of the shipping that you're charging to the buyer. That is going to be an all first class package, from what I understand. I don't know what part of that was. Okay, they are charging more because they rolled out tubes, and we're talking about the large packages. I do know that first class is a max of 18 inches. So sorry for piggybacking off of your conversation. I'm just trying to find some questions that we can share with everyone. Aunt White, thank you very much. Love your channel. Your experience and advice are helping me a lot. Got to go through. Got to go though. Thank you for showing up and being part of the live stream today, Aunt White. Certainly glad that this information that I put out does help at least a few of you, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. You want to talk about motivation? Sometimes, if you ever do videos, and I guess Ed can maybe tell you his answer on this. If you ever do videos, it is very motivating when you get comments like that. Sometimes you wonder if you are making a difference. Sometimes you wonder if this content is even helping people. But when you see that it does, it makes you want to get out there and make another video. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Christopher Nutter says, how do you keep consistent sales when you list every day, offer best offer, use coupon, markdown sales, and sales are inconsistent, sometimes 1 a day, 3 a day, or 6 a day? That's a good question. I would say list better stuff. That's the problem I'm dealing with. That fixes a lot of it. Offering, going through and doing the mass edit on your listings. I've told you guys what I do. Anything that's older than 7 days, I go in there and I change the price by 0.2% on anything that's older than a week. And that gives the item some traction. Go in and I offer coupons. Now, one thing I've started doing, and I'm tinkering, I'm really trying different ways. The automated feedback, I've gone in there and changed my automated feedback to something like, thank you, use this coupon code on your next purchase. And so that pops into their feedback. So maybe if they're checking, oh, I got some extra feedback here, they can see that I left them a coupon code for next time. Something I'm trying. I don't know what the returns are on that. I just started doing that. And if I do see it's working, I'll share it with you, though. Dan Finwald, thank you for your comment here. Great content. Do you prefer doing a sale or a coupon? I've noticed more immediate sales with running coupon sales. Public coupon, I prefer. If I had to give you an option, I like doing both. But if I had to choose one, it would be the coupon, not the private, but the public, because it pops up into the left side, at least on the PC, shows you the buyer exactly what code to use and the discount. And that might be enough to sway that buyer. I just looked at this item. I'm looking at this item. It's the same. It appears to be the same, but this guy's giving me 5-10% off. Let's go with it. I think that is probably one of the best things that eBay has done for us as sellers over the last year. Something no one mentions is that if there is a return, when the buyer prints the label, eBay only offers a label via priority mail and does not give a discount with return labels. Yes, that's when you have to go into pirate ship. So you're dealing with large items too. Those prices can get really high. You can go in and just get click happy and accept the return and pay for the return label. It's a $40 label and it only costs you like 20 on pirate ship with UPS ground. I'm going to go in pirate ship. It's going to take 5 minutes more than just clicking through, but I'm going to save some money on that return label. If I have to, if the buyer cancels the return or just doesn't return it, I can go back in and cancel that label and void it out. But I would rather go in, and the way you do it, it's kind of tricky. You go into like pirate ship, you plug in their address as the return address, your address as the delivery address, set the dimensions and the weight, and you should have that in your listing. That's why it's important to keep that information in your listing and not leave it blank. But put that information in pirate ship, pay for the label, and then go, instead of printing it out, you'll save it as a PDF, do a screen grab, and I use the it's the snipping tool in Windows, and take a snip of the actual entire label, save it as like return label, and then go in and upload that. Now, that when the buyer will go in and try to take that label, once that return's been approved, a lot of times they don't see it. It's not coming up. So you'll have to go in and send a separate message to the buyer in case you weren't able to get it through eBay. Here's the same return label, and put an attachment on that message. It's a pain, but it's less painful than paying the extra amount that you'd pay on a return with USPS. And maybe I need to make a video on that, on the steps to upload your own label and how to make that work. Maybe I'll do that next time. And Febraro, Bonanza makes their profit from people clicking on the Amazon links, so they don't have any interest in advertising. Okay. And I'm wondering, does Bonanza charge a final value fee, and how much? Very curious about that. Dad of Arkham Knight BS, for those who got 1099K from eBay by mistake during filing and the tax question, do we say yes, we got 1099K, and then mention the income reported on that form, or do we say we did not? The answer to the question, I would say, is yes. And the reason why I would say to report it is, you don't see, eBay's line right now is that they didn't share that with the IRS. But my thought is you should be reporting it anyway. Okay. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's part of it. But the main part of it is, if eBay doesn't even know what they're doing and they send you out a 1099 by accident, what's them to really know that 1099 didn't also get sent to the IRS? And, I'll share a story with you. Back in 2019, Jen and I had a choice to make. Do we continue with the company that we're with, move to the East Coast, step down from management, take a huge pay cut, all of our families on the West Coast, and just deal with that and see where that takes us, or take a severance package? And my thought was, okay, we'll do the severance package. I had a little bit in the 401k on a couple different accounts. Move that out, cash that out. I know I took the 10% penalty. I was willing to accept that. Had some things I wanted to pay off, had some things I wanted to buy to start this new business, like pallets and stuff to get started. And they, of course, 1099 for that. And I expected that. But what I didn't know is they 1099 me for there's like 4 accounts. And they didn't explain that, nor did their website show that I had 4 1099s. I had 2 that they sent me in the mail and 2 that were on their website. So that's all I reported. Well, got a little note early last year, actually middle of last year, from the IRS. You underreported your income in 2019. And they give you a little penalty for underreporting your income. And if it's sizable enough, you're dealing now with, well, that's a good sign. That's a $175 sale. So that's awesome. That's good. That makes me feel better. Hopefully it's not one of you guys buying this Blu-ray player, but okay. Nonetheless, thank you, buyer. Going back to my story. IRS is now wanting me to settle up. It's a total surprise. We're talking like thousands of dollars. And I didn't know it even existed. Now, had I gone back and looked at the deposit that was made in my account, I guess do the math. Yeah, okay. But I didn't do that, and I wasn't expecting it. And so the IRS, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if the IRS gets a 1099 report for you, it will not be forgotten. They will come back and they will get it. And the IRS is not someone you want to mess with. You have to take care of it. It's not like, if you wanted to default on a credit card, the IRS doesn't play games like that. So because eBay did this, shame on them, but you don't want to be caught in a situation where they, they reported it and they're telling you they didn't report it. So my dogs are, it's windy outside and the dogs are bark happy control. So in bark happy mode. So thank you for that question. It's a tough one, but I would report it. Dan Finewald, you've always called eBay out on their crap. I don't know what that idiot was referring to. There's just a lot of people who have an opinion. There's a lot of people who are very critical of me for, holding water for eBay when I make a video when eBay finally does something good. I would think it would be very unfair of me if I wasn't honest about the good and the bad. So they happen to watch that one video and it looks like I'm a fanboy of eBay, and then they call me out for it, not watching the other one. So, it is what it is. Some people just don't have all the information before they make their comments. Dad of Arkham Knight, and then mention that income separately with 1099 received option. Again, I would report it. I mean, some people just, it would put you in a different tax bracket and maybe give you a tax liability you didn't really expect. But it's better than having to deal with the IRS. Trust me, you don't want to deal with the IRS after the fact. Then they told me, just so I can maybe give you some further information on that story, the IRS told me, okay, we took taxes out, which they did. They took taxes out for a particular amount on that. Uh-oh. Don't know if that's a sale or not. Probably not. So every time I talk about the IRS, I get sales or activities. So maybe I should just do a video, a live stream just on taxes. But They took out taxes, like $2,800 in taxes. And then I get another notice saying that I owe even more, and that isn't there. So that's a headache I have to navigate through. I did talk to the IRS last year about it, but this is a new notice, and it's not even mentioning the taxes they took out. So they're wanting even more money from me. So I have to go through and deal with all that nonsense. And it's not a nightmare. You want to deal with it. Just report it. If I had to give you an answer, I mean, you do what you got to do. But I would say reporting it is the safer option, especially if we're not talking about a whole lot. If it was filed in error, the 1099, I would not admit to receiving it. But then again, you know, if the IRS receives a 1099, they know that you've received it, whether it's an error or not. And they're not gonna buy. The IRS is not someone is going to say, like my argument was with the whole 1099s I didn't receive in 2019. I didn't get it mailed to me. It wasn't even on their website. So, and my argument was, look, I understand if I miscalculated my taxes in 2019, I'll pay what I owe, but this $600 non-payment fee, you guys got to waive that for me. This is an honest mistake. They don't play games, and they didn't waive anything. At least in the last conversation I had, they weren't doing it. Monster Loon, is eBay known for changing something on a listing? I noticed a few days ago that one of my older listings had calculated shipping. I never use calculated shipping. No, they're not known for changing that, but I do know that, like, for instance, if I'm listing something on the app, right, and I use $9.99 shipping for this item, when I go in and list another item, let's say I'm listing on Sell Similar, I piggyback off of a sold listing for the same item, it will a lot of times utilize the same shipping policy that I just used. So maybe you were using the calculated and this one's not a calculated. You didn't notice that, and you ran the listing with that still in there. Just a guess. I might be entirely wrong, but that's what I've noticed. Had a couple very bad experiences selling graphics cards on eBay. A couple returned for no reason, paid all the fees for shipping, ended up losing money, never again. Yeah, that's why, something like that, no. And, graphics cards, I'm surprised your story wasn't that they swapped them out for, like a GeForce, whatever those are. I have a GeForce in my computer right now, but one of the earlier old video cards. I'm surprised that people don't swap out more often when it comes to video cards. That would be something I would be really worried about, especially the price of some of these video cards. You guys ever price out video cards? You're talking, I think they went up like 20-30% from years past. Ed says eBay really needs to start listening to us sellers, especially us smaller ones, because we're the ones who actually experience what's going on and have to deal with all the problems. 100% on that. Chucky says H&R Block told me I didn't need to file my 1099. They said I didn't make enough. Okay. Well, hey, then follow what H&R Block says. Certainly. Whenever it comes to 1099s being sent out to you, I'm worried about that. Ricardo says, flipping ain't easy. With all the inflation concerns, are you ordering more shipping supplies now to lock in the cost? Shipping supplies are going up. You know what? I continue to order them as I need them. I did order some boxes because I knew that if I'm going thrifting, order the 18 by 10 by, was it 18 by 14 by 10 boxes that'll accommodate a above average size like DVD player, VCR, that kind of thing. Because I think I ordered like 50 of them because I knew I was going to be getting some more in the future. It's always good to think ahead. If you're going to, ship out a bunch of clothes, you got a pallet of clothes coming in, you might want to start buying different size poly bags so that you can ship those out first class and be prepared for it. Audrey says, I tried listing my first item the other day and it was only giving me the option to auction. Why is that? Well, for whatever reason, if you're listing in the app, eBay continues to push the auction format. they default auction. You need to click that off and it'll change it to buy it now. It's such a pain because if you're not looking for it, you're going to wonder why does eBay continually try to push auctions when eBay should know that auctions have been dying or almost dead since 2010. But I don't know. I just don't know. But just be very careful. Take your time, especially when you're starting out. Take your time, go through each of the steps, make sure you're doing everything and clicking on the appropriate different options that are in the app. Chucky says eBay is just a side hustle, not a full-time job. So there's a lot of competition racing to the bottom. There is a lot of items, but again, if you're sourcing at 30% of MSRP and your competition sourcing at 50%, you have more room to work with than they do. Let's see. Not sure of the restrictions they have for new sellers, but that's my best guess. Because of it being a new seller, going in and having an auction, but I don't think that has to do with it. I think that for new sellers, in fact, they had that option for new sellers. And I don't know if they still have it in the app, but they had it last year where you can set it up to have your item gradually lower in price over time, but it's not a feature they give someone like me who's been with eBay for a while. I thought would be a good idea on certain items. I have to go and do that manually. Let's take a look and see if we have any questions here. IRS always owes you money. Well, that's a good thing, right? Let's see. Ed says he always reports his income when he didn't get a 1099. Some sellers are leaving because they weren't doing the right thing. And yeah, it's just like selling under the table, selling on marketplace. People don't usually report that. And the IRS wants their cut of the money. I mean, I even heard that the IRS was trying to get drug dealers to report their drug deals so they can get their cut of the money. No lie, it's an actual article. You can look it up. And yeah, they're just trying to shake everyone down to get some more money. Yaz A says eBay added local pickup to half my listings. Had to calculate and go through my listings. Yeah, I did notice that as well. They want you to do local pickup. Very strange. And also what I noticed too is that on some listings, it doesn't give me the option to promote the listing, even though it's not an auction. It's just not there. I have to start up the listing and I have to go back in and promote it if I wanted to do that. Do you have more returns if you do returns versus no returns? I would say probably not. If someone wants to return your item that bad, they're going to do what they can. You say no returns, they could still select the reason to override that and get a return label from you. So, and you can't just ignore it. eBay will provide it for you and ding your account for a defect. So no returns is probably one of the worst eBay business models there is out there. It just doesn't serve a purpose. Maybe some buyers will see that and go, oh, I guess I can't return it. But those who know better will return it. Let's see. What do we got here? Winter Crow, all good things. Anyways, I did click the auction button to turn it off and would go back on to default, not let me do the other option. It'll default on every listing. It certainly will. Christopher says that shelving the back, same I use, you can put a lot of small items in there, but I put cardboard on some shelves so items don't fall through the hole. Got 4 different sets of shelves. Yeah, I have a lot of different shelving. We just, funny thing is I just bought 2 new metal shelves, the larger shelves or the larger racks for my garage. I had this big workbench that was totally in the way. I don't know if you guys saw it in some of my videos. I sold that, blew it out for $100. It's worth more than that, but I had to just get it out of there because I was running out of room. And then as soon as I do that and buy these racks to store stuff, I can't find anything to put on the racks. So, it is what it is. But guys, it looks to me like we are into over an hour now. And so I want to thank you guys for being a part of this program, it'd be impossible for me to have this conversation with you guys through a regular video, to be able to answer your questions, talk about some of the things that you bring up. And it's something I enjoy doing, is having these live streams, something I'll try to do more often. And it gives me some motivation to get out there and do more videos. And, you know, I woke up this morning feeling really motivated, and I don't know why, which is kind of why I made the video title, and I wanted to kind of talk about motivation. Success breeds motivation, bottom line. So whatever it takes for you to be successful, get in there, override your gut feeling to just, I don't want to be bothered today, and get going. There's no excuses, you know. Bottom line is, eBay isn't going to do the work for you. eBay is going to reward the people who really are going to do the work, and eBay doesn't care that John has no merchandise to sell. They're going to reward the people that get those items listed. So do what you can to overcome your current situation. I'm fighting to overcome mine. You need to fight to overcome whatever's holding you back. But hopefully that provides you some motivation, a little kick in the butt. But you know, motivation, it's just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a kick butt week. Get out there, keep listing. In my case, keep sourcing. Don't give up. And I'm not going to give up. Neither should you. And comment, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video if you have a reseller friend. And I just want to thank you. Oh, Winter Crow, you didn't have to do that, but thank you for the super chat. I certainly appreciate that. Get out there and override that thought to just not do it today. In the long run, you're going to be thankful you did. Just like I wasn't going to do a video today. I wanted to spend that motivation listing the little bit I have in the garage, but you know what? I overrode that thought, and I'm glad I did it. So thanks, guys. Thanks for your support. Thanks for supporting the channel. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you guys very soon.